National Weather Service in Raleigh. It's Nick Petro with your routine weekly Monday morning briefing for Central North Carolina, and this covers the period today, the 8th of May through the 14th, and the 14th is Mother's Day weekend, by the way, this upcoming weekend, so we're hoping for good weather for that. So anyway, let's jump right into something I want to share with you real quick here. And that is a slide that we sent out earlier today. Because if I really kind of give you the bottom line up front, tomorrow is going to be our, I would say, our most impactful day of the next 5 days. So looking through the rest of the work week, if I had to say what day this week is going to have the most, potentially dangerous weather, it appears that tomorrow might be that day. But our confidence isn't particularly high with this because a lot of our models aren't showing a whole lot of thunderstorm activity. But should the thunderstorm activity get going, then there's a pretty good chance there could be some damaging winds and large hail. Obviously, excessive lightning and that sort of thing. But this outlook, courtesy of our colleagues at the Storm Prediction Center, shows that areas east of I-95 will have the highest risk, if you will, for severe storms. And then as you go kind of just west of US 1, sort of between US 1 and I-95, maybe a little bit just west of US 1 corridor, there will also be a risk for severe weather, although not quite as high of a risk as the area that you see in yellow. And again, this is tomorrow, Tuesday. So it looks like the worst of these storms will roll through between 2 and 8 p.m. tomorrow. And again, if they did occur, that would be damaging winds and severe hail. So anyway, let's take a look at, as I often like to do, and again, it's been a while since I've done one of these here, so so bear with me as I set some things up on my screen here. But this is live data, so I always like to start a forecast, as we always should, looking at what's going on. You can't predict anything in the future unless you know the current state of the atmosphere. So let me just loop this real quick and point out a few things. So I'll let you look at this loop, and then I'm going to stop it on the final frame, and then I'll point out some things that I think will help set the stage for what we're expecting. All right, so this is the last in final frame, and as I zoom in a little bit more, first thing, obviously, it's fairly warm. We got temperatures climbing up through the 70s and toward 80. These 80s that you see here are occurring, where obviously there's breaks in the clouds. But this area of rain right here and this area of rain right here are sort of our two areas I'm keeping an eye on, because this area of rain and shower and thunderstorm activity, as it moves east and crosses the mountains, it should mostly fizzle out. But there might be just enough storms left over from this to give us a few scattered, or maybe even widely scattered, showers and maybe thunderstorms later this evening. So again, this activity right here is expected to move east, and as it does, it's going to weaken, mostly dissipate, but there could be a few new storms kind of evolving across central North Carolina this evening. So we're keeping an eye on that. We're not expecting that to be severe, should there be any of those storms moving into our area this evening. And then tomorrow, there's this batch of showers and storms, and some of our models suggest that this batch of storms, which by the way is out ahead of a cold front, and you really can't see the temperature difference in the cold front in terms of the temperature difference in temperatures. You can see it a lot better in dew points, and the actual air mass change is further, west of the Mississippi. Yet it's kind of back in here, somewhere here is where we see dew points lower, and there's kind of a warm front feature in there. But the bottom line, this line of storms out ahead of this front. Some models show this moving across central North Carolina, but in a very much weaker state early in the day tomorrow. And then additional storms after this passes by early in the morning, then additional storms reforming later in the day. Not from this batch. This would be tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning's batch that probably, quite frankly, won't even still be there. It'll probably dissipate. But looking further to the west, new storms kind of in this general overall area might develop. As this first batch moves through tomorrow morning, by late in the day, we may see enough air mass recovery to see some showers and storms developing basically from the triangle eastward. Okay, it's kind of east of that line as the cold front, which again right now is still back here, moves east and makes its way to the east. So anyway, that's kind of the setup for everything that that I'm showing you here in this graphic. Okay, so if there's a few storms later today, this evening, not expecting any of those to be severe. The storms that might move through in the morning probably aren't going to be severe if there are even any. And then the storms later in the day, again, mainly to the east and south of the triangle region, the green area, the dark green and south and east would probably be late in the day with the best chance for severe storms east of I-95, because it's going to, it's going to take a while for as that first batch moves through, and then as the front gets a little closer, we may see some redevelopment again across central or eastern North Carolina. So, and should that happen, there should be enough gap between the morning showers and the evening showers to allow some heating to develop across eastern North Carolina tomorrow afternoon, and that heating and instability could set the stage for showers and storms, a few of which may be severe. Okay, so that's probably our biggest risk for this week. And then as we go through Wednesday, look at Wednesday. Wednesday is looking pretty good because we have high pressure over the eastern Great Lakes that's really gonna be over much of the mid-Atlantic and the Carolinas. High pressure still over us on Friday, but the flow will start to come around that high like so, like I'm showing with this arrow. And that southerly flow, as we call it sometimes, the return flow around the high, will result in temperatures climbing. So, this high on Wednesday, we're going to be on the east side of it. So that means we're going to see cooler air coming down from the north on the east side of it. And that should keep temperatures in the 70s. But by the time we get to Friday, warm air wrapping around the high, we'll be back up into the probably lower to mid 80s, probably mid 80s. And then finally, we for Sunday in this weekend, quite frankly, there's going to be sort of a hint that as this low area moves to the north and east, that this front right here might drape southward. Okay, and if that, I know my arrow is kind of hard to see there, but as this front you see right here drapes kind of southward, sometimes we refer to that as a backdoor front. That could give us a few scattered, mainly afternoon and evening showers and storms this weekend, but it's not going to be a washout. So if you have any outdoor plans or doing any kind of outdoor celebrating for Mother's Day, make sure you keep an eye to the sky, but I wouldn't worry about, having to cancel anything because of rain. It's not going to be a washout, but just make sure you have, if you're outside, you have a safe place to go should thunderstorms develop with that lightning threat. All right. Let's get to the severe thunderstorm potential for days 1 through 8. Just ordinary thunderstorms today. There's a risk marginal, if not slight, for eastern half of North Carolina. Maybe some, I think this is overdone for Wednesday. I think we're going to be dry on Wednesday. In fact, is that even the right date? That might be an old graphic. But anyway, for now, let's not worry so much. These might be old graphics. But anyway, these two graphics here and here are good graphics and or current graphics, and those are the only two severe weather threats, or only one severe weather threat is for tomorrow. All right, so anyway, I'll fix that before I email these slides out. How much rain are we going to get? Well, today we're talking real spotty, splotchy kind of shower coverage, rain coverage. This time of year, any decent downpour could put down a quick quarter to a half inch of rain. But most places won't see that. Most places will see just lighter amounts. But again, if you get underneath a heavier shower, you could pick up a quick 1/4 inch of rain. And tomorrow, the majority of the rain will be east of I-95. When I say majority, I mean the heavier rain will be east of I-95. And even there, we're talking 1/4 to a 1/2 inch with lighter amounts elsewhere. Look at that, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, dry, beautiful weather. Cool temperature, well, cool for this time of year, around 70 or low 70s Wednesday, but then warming up back toward the end of the 80s Thursday and Friday, okay? All right, no risk for flash flooding the next 3 days. And then as we look further down the road, you'll notice, first thing before looking at these graphics, take note of the normal temperatures. And normal, what's normal? Normal's just, you take the last 30 years and you average it. And that's basically considered normal. So that would be, 78 for highs near Greensboro, 80 for highs near Raleigh, and 82 for Fayetteville with lows in the upper 50s. And temperature-wise, we're expected to be near or maybe odds slightly tilt towards above normal temperatures. So in other words, I wouldn't expect during the 8 to 14-day outlook temperatures to be lower than what those normal values there show. How about rainfall? Odds slightly favor above normal precip, but again, this time of year, sometimes it's hit or miss. All right, so that takes us to the wrap up here. Again, scattered afternoon and evening storms are possible today, mainly evening, I should say, but a better chance for storms Tuesday as a cold front moves through. Some storms may become severe. Again, that's going to be mainly focused east of I-95. Okay, so a lot of places in central North Carolina may stay dry tomorrow, believe it or not. So it's not a done deal. You're going to see storms tomorrow. The models have been trending drier for tomorrow. So, we may have to tweak this forecast. And as always, we'll be sending out single slide graphics highlighting that severe threat as we head through the next 24 hours. Once we get rid of tomorrow's weather, then dry and seasonable for Wednesday through Friday, and then some hit or miss showers over the weekend. Not a washout, not a big deal, but just, if you got outdoor plans this weekend, just make sure you have a place to go when if the thunderstorms move over, because obviously we don't want to be caught in a lightning situation if you're outdoors. All right. Lastly, again, if we do have some decent storms develop tomorrow, again, that would be mainly south and east of the triangle. They could feature some damaging winds and large hail. And again, it would be the most likely time is, late afternoon through mid-evening. All right. So that wraps up our weekly briefing for Central North Carolina for this Monday, the 8th of May. So with that,